Have you ever wondered how you would cope if you were arrested and detained in a foreign country? Today's guest, Chancellor Jackson, shares his harrowing experience in Beijing and the powerful lessons he's learned about resilience and courage. Welcome back to the Organic Matrix, where we explore life changing advice, natural remedies for our listeners. Today, we have a truly inspiring guest with us, Chancellor Jackson, a best selling author, coach, and speaker. In this episode, we'll be discussing the powerful theme of overcoming adversity and how Chancellor's unique life experience can shed light on navigating challenges with resilience and courage. Together, we will address the common problems people face when dealing with adversity, such as maintaining mental well being, finding strength in difficult circumstances, and learning valuable life lessons along the way. Through Chancellor's personal journey, which includes his time spent detained in Beijing, as well as his exploration of personal growth and emotional intelligence in his writing, we aim to provide you, our Matrix members, with valuable insights and practical advice for overcoming life's obstacles. So, without further ado, let's welcome Chancellor to the show. Looking for career advice, personal development tips, or inspiring stories? Our Matrix mentors have you covered. Don't miss out. Bookmark our podcast and follow us on social media for a life guide in your pocket. Chancellor, welcome to the Organic Matrix.
Hey, what's going on, Samantha? Blessings and balance to you. Hey, blessings and balance to everyone that's tuning in. Big shout out to the listeners. They're the real MVPs. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Thank you. Can you tell us how you ended up traveling to Beijing?
Yeah, so after I graduated from Stetson University with my bachelor's degree in communication and media studies, I ironically landed my first job teaching English to children. So it was a whole completely different field, but this was the first opportunity to finally give me a yes. You know what I'm saying? Up until this point, I had been applying for jobs and landing interviews, but I kept getting told no. And I was mainly going for corporate positions. So once I approached my job searching and looked more towards just social work, um, that's when I came across the opportunity to teach English to children in China. I applied. It was a very simple process to apply, and first job to tell me yes. So that's how I ended up out there.
Wow, how was it like to get your first yes outside of the country?
It was crazy. It was crazy because, like I said, I got close so many times. I'm talking about these prior job interviews I had. I'm talking about these folks flying me out, putting me up in hotels, renting me cars, the whole nine. So I'm like, okay, yeah, they finna hire me. They ain't doing all this for no reason. And then they'll turn around, I was like, we're gonna go with somebody else, or they just kept in with the same excuses. Oh, you lack the experience. We're gonna go with somebody with a little bit more experience. It was like, y'all knew that was the case when I submitted my resume. It was plain as day. You know what I'm saying? Now I done got in front of y'all. I don't know what done shifted the paradigm, but for sure, I just knew to not take it personally and to keep going, keep putting yourself out there. Something was gonna shake, and it was something better in store for me. So once I got that yes from China, I was pretty much sold. Like, this is what we finna do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So, on your way to Beijing, like how was the travel there when you were leaving like going to the airport? What were you thinking? Like, can you bring us to that transition to your life?
Yeah. So I got hired in July, and it was a 3 month long process, just from, you know what I'm saying, to get my visa to go over there. So within that time, I started training for. I started getting my TEFL certificate, so teaching English as a foreign language. I took it upon myself to start learning a little bit of Mandarin because I ain't want to be out there and not know nothing. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be working with kids, I might as well get used to being around kids. So I found two jobs at two different elementary schools in my county. One was a lunchroom monitor. So I'm like, that's definitely going to get a good feel for children. You know what I'm saying? In the cafeteria when they most turned up? Oh, yeah, for sure. And then, of course, after school programs. So I got a good feel for the kids, and was just trying to stack up as much bread as I could before it was time for me to go. And then on October 10th, 2018, that's when I entered China. And I left on the 9th from Atlanta to Seattle, and then had a 4 hour layover in Seattle, and then from Seattle to Beijing. And honestly, I was just excited. You know what I'm saying? And I was documenting everything, recording it, just as much footage as I can. And once I landed in China, it was just like, hey, we out here, we lit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just excited to see what all this opportunity will, you know what I'm saying, will bring, and who will I be once it's all said and done. Most importantly, I know I was going to grow and transform from the experience, and that's what I was just most excited for, to see the evolution.
Oh yeah, that's incredible, and that's such a big moment to go to a different country. Was it your first time going outside of the country?
Nah, this was my fourth time. I've been to London twice, and I've been to London twice and Bahamas three times. So this is my sixth time going out the country.
Oh, that's awesome. You're well
Yeah.
seasoned. And I love the initiative that you took, that you got yourself involved with programs that involved teaching children so that you can be prepared for the opportunity.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I ain't really like, I'm good with kids, but it's like I ain't never really have to like work with them for real, for real. So I'm like, and now it ain't like I'm just gonna be babysitting them. Now I actually got to teach these jokers. So I'm like, let me really get used to, you know what I'm saying, just being around kids, especially kids that, you know what I'm saying, misbehave and, you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying, hard headed and all of that. So just get used to that. So I actually step into the field, I'll be seasoned. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
ain't gonna be out there looking like a chicken with his head cut off.
What were the circumstances that led to that big moment of being arrested in Beijing, and how did you handle the situation?
So it's creeping up on month six. So it's April 4th, 2019. Um, it's a day off for me. I'm finna get ready to head to a team builder event that my company is hosting. And before I slide to the event, I was like, yeah, I'm a pregame before I go. So I'm in my apartment. I'm drinking some Chinese wine coolers, smoke some cannabis at my little pipe. Get done, get dressed, make sure I get everything before I get ready to walk out the door. And I hear a knock. Guests aren't unfamiliar, so curious to see who it is. I looked through the people, and there stood three officers from the Beijing police. Instantly, I'm spooked. You know what I'm saying? Like, what they doing here? So I scrambled to put everything up, open the door. They walk in and they question me about drugs. I'm sitting here trying to finesse, like I don't know what they talking about, playing the fool. They ended up drug testing me right there on the spot. I failed the drug test, and that's pretty much where things started to just go left. For real, for real. So I'm arrested inside the apartment. We go from one precinct to another precinct, and I do my official interrogation, and that's dramatic because they take me to the basement of the second precinct and to this all white room, and in the center of this room is this all metal chair that looks like an electric chair. So they lock me into this chair just to do my interrogation. But by that time, I had a good story to finesse them with, so I gave them my fabricated story. They released me from the chair and they threw me back in the holding cell, and I'm just reflecting, just a lot of reflecting. And curious is how this thing finna play out, because it isn't like you know what I'm saying, I can hold a full in-depth conversation with these people. No, that's not happening. And just from my culture, I've been taught not to talk to the police unless, you know what I'm saying, directly spoken to. So, and
Hmm.
it wasn't like they was going out their way to talk to me. So it was just no form of communication whatsoever. I'm just following. They say jump, I say how high. You know what I mean? But my background in football, I'm used to just receiving orders and just following them. So after all of that, we go to the actual. I end up in the actual facility where I'm housed, and I'm locked up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 15 men to one cell, 9 wooden beds, 3 soups a day, and all I had was a plastic bowl and a plastic spoon for 14 days straight. And I'm here to tell y'all, I did 14 days. As you read, you have no clue what's going on, how long you're gonna be there. It's a complete mystery, um, but that's what makes a story what it is at the same time until, you know what I'm saying, one day they just call your name to come on.
I can only imagine how terrifying that is, that you're in another country with the language barrier, with three officers at your door where we all like think like, "Oh, I'm home. I feel safe." Did did they did they just go to your house because they smelled cannabis?
I don't know. I don't know what possessed them to come to the crib. This wasn't their first time just showing up to the crib randomly. It was the third time that year they did it. In January, it was to check our visas, to, you know what I'm saying, make sure we were who we said we were. The second time was in February to just remind us about some safety hazards. So when they popped up the third time, I'm like, okay, this is clearly a routine thing that they do it for us. I done heard stories from other colleagues about how 12 just done pulled up on them randomly too. So I really didn't know what they wanted. You know what I'm saying? because the previous two times they wasn't on that type of time. So I'm like, okay, let me just scramble, let me put everything up and you know what I'm saying, see what they want, so I can go on about my the rest of my day. I ain't really thinking too much of it, but they was just on a whole completely different type of time that third time.
Wow. While you were detained, what was the biggest challenge you faced, and how did you find strength and resilience to cope with that situation when you were sitting there, like not knowing how long you were gonna be using the same plastic utensils over and over?
I mean, just accountability first and foremost. Is like it isn't like I've just been wrongfully arrested and now I'm in this situation. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not the case. No, I was making conscious decisions that I knew the repercussions from. So now that shit has hit the fan and here we are, I have nobody but myself to, you know what I'm saying, put the blame on, point the finger at. If I'm gonna be upset with anybody, I gotta be upset with myself. Because I told myself that I wasn't gonna do this and I still did it. So here we are. It
Mm,
is what it is. I gotta take this to the chin, however it's gonna play out. You know what I'm saying? For
mm-hmm,
sure. Accountability, it plays a huge factor into any equation, any most of our problems in life, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror first and
mm-hmm.
foremost. But a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, it's like it's harder. It's harder to take responsibility than to blame something, right?
You got to. You got to. So just, you know what I'm saying, just accountability and just I knew when we got to the first precinct, I was sitting down in the chair handcuffed and I was just like, man, just in disbelief of like, bro, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening. And when it's all said and done, however, you know what I'm saying, whatever's going to take place, whatever I'm going to have to endure, I know I'm gonna be good. Mentally, I'm still gonna be intact. Spiritually, I'm still gonna be strong. So I'm still gonna be me when it's all said and done. Now I don't know how this thing finna play out, what I'm finna have to, you know what I'm saying, endure, but it ain't gonna break me. So with that being said, take note of every minor detail because this is gonna be a great story to tell once you're out of this predicament. And most importantly, enjoy this high one last time because we don't know what's gonna happen to us, boy. This is exactly what I told myself. No cap.
I love your attitude. And I have to ask, like, where did you get this mental resilience? Because it sounds like you have a great relationship with yourself. I've had some conversations with a few like Matrix mentors, and they talked about how we have to be the one to like look in the mirror and say, no matter what happens, I still love you. I'm still here for you. And it sounds like you have that relationship with yourself where you know you're there for yourself. How did you build that strength and that bond?
I guess through football. You know what I'm saying? Football was my very first love and first passion. Um, Very first thing I set goals for. And I put my 10 toes to the ground and I busted my ass to accomplish what it is I set out to do with that game of football. Like, my end goal was to, of course, every high school athlete's goal is to make it to the league, but I definitely wanted to play Division 1 football. That was the biggest goal I had. Um, and at first, it wasn't seeming like that was going to be feasible. But I'm like, at least if I can just play at the next level, it ain't got to be D1. If I could just play at the next level, I'll be content with that. But just through my sheer efforts, you know what I'm saying? Me putting in the work, me reaching out to schools, marketing myself, because my coaches wasn't doing it, I was able to land the opportunity to play Division 1 football. So it's like I had a goal and I wrote it down and I crossed it off the list. You know what I'm saying? But I was just so locked in tunnel vision. Like I put everything I had into achieving that goal. Like if it ain't had nothing to do with that, to hell with it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't go to prom. I ain't do nothing for spring break. I went down to the school to visit the school I ended up attending. You know what I'm saying? I was just strictly about business. And still I was sure that I had someplace lined up for when it was time for me to cross that stage in May. And I did that to the T. So um, just, you know what I'm saying? Just when you want something, but is the universe gonna test you, see how bad you really want it, and
Mm,
see what you really made of. Most importantly, um, so just me going through that with football, I already knew whatever endeavor that I would eventually embark on once football came to an end. I'm like, it's gonna be a wrap. Whenever I find my next football, essentially, that gives me the same drive, the same passion that football did, I said it's gonna be a wrap. Ain't nothing gonna be able to stop me.
oh, I love that. That's so powerful. It sounds like your ability of scouting for yourself and hustling for your dream translated into how you were able to go to these executive meetings and find yourself this communication job in Beijing. In what other areas, high school football, like what it taught you, where other What other areas in your profession has it shown to be an asset as in your adult life?
Um, just whenever adversity strikes, you know what I'm saying? Football wasn't peaches and cream for me. I ain't start playing football till eighth grade, 13 years old. Anybody that knows about football in the South, most jokers been playing since they was 4 and 5 years old. So I
Mhm.
was very late to the game. With that being said, so it was a lot of catching up I had to do. You know what I'm saying? But I was able to still do what I wanted to do, what millions of high school athletes wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, so just facing, you know what I'm saying, not letting adversity deter you or let it be detrimental to your spirit and, you know what I'm saying, just anything that you want to accomplish. Like, ain't nothing gonna be easy. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mhm.
why we call this thing the marathon. This life, we call life a marathon because just similar to a marathon, life is long, it's hard, it's a continuous grind. You gonna get tired. The folks you running with, they gonna stop running and gonna try to drag you down with them. But now with your 10 toes to ground, but you got to keep going until you cross that victory lap. You know what I'm saying? You
Amen.
only the person that's gonna stop you is you. This and with the internet and technology nowadays, man, this thing has empowered everybody. Literally, you think about social media. Social media has been changing people's lives for the past decade.
Mhm.
Literally, people's lives have hit complete 180s just because of them just being consistent and what they doing. So this thing could be as big as you want to make it and go as far as you want to take it. That's totally upon you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So it's just, you know what I'm saying, adversity, man. Adversity introduces a man to himself or a woman to herself. So, well, how bad do you want it? When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
Oh, that's a fact. I love this. This is great advice and great perspective. What strategies or coping mechanisms did you use to maintain your courage and mental well-being during the time you were detained?
Just praying to my ancestors. You know what I'm saying? For strength, continue to, you know what I'm saying, keep my mind intact, keep me positive, uplifted. Grateful for me not being physically harmed or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So just, you know what I'm saying, acknowledging the little things, being grateful for the little things and just trying to, and really just controlling what I can control. I'm locked up in a communist country. What I can't control is really I can only control me and how I'm choosing to handle the situation mentally. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's the only thing I can't control. I can't control what these folks gonna do, how this thing gonna play. I ain't got no control over that. But I can control my attitude. You know what I'm saying? I can control my mindset, my perspective, my energy for sure. I can control all of that. That's all controllable.
Wow, you are really strong. Because every time you say, like when you mention I'm locked up in a communist country, man, every time I hear it, I'm like, damn, I'd be shook.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like I knew like when I was in the actual jail, I was like, okay, I know I made a decision, and these are, you know what I'm saying, there's a repercussion from that decision. So that's why I'm in here. But I felt like it was still so much more than just that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was still minute. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even nothing too, I ain't even did nothing too crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'll do is smoke a little weed, but it's like, yeah, I shouldn't be doing it in the communist country for sure. I'm wilding for even, you know what I'm saying, engaging in it. But I just felt like it's something more to this that I'm supposed to do. Like, I don't know what or how, but it's something else that I'm supposed to do with this situation. And I know I needed it. I don't know what it is I'm gonna do, but in due time, you know what I'm saying, it'll tell all for sure.
Did you ever find out like the message behind it? Like, was it your book?
Oh, yeah, the book was definitely what I knew I wanted to do something with the story. I had no clue what though. So
Mhm.
the book was definitely uh the avenue for me to share the story. But most importantly, once football came to an end for me in 2017, just the last game of my career, I knew, you know what I'm saying, I knew my sophomore year in college that the NFL wasn't gonna be in the picture. But as far as what I was gonna do next, I was like, shit, I just crossed that bridge when I get to it. So I got to that bridge and I was just like, damn, all right, Chance, what we finna do? What's next? Like, what do you want to be? Who do you aspire to be? What are you good at? What's your purpose? You know what I'm saying? What do you see yourself doing? Uh, Man, I have no clue. I don't even know where to start. But shit, I know I gotta start somewhere. It's just like I gotta unlearn and relearn everything about myself. You know what I'm saying? I've identified as a student athlete and a football player to the fullest, like truly embodied it. And now that's no longer the case.
Mm-hmm.
Every athlete goes through this phase. Every athlete, you know what I'm saying? And it either they either find something else to stay afloat, or the motherfucker sink. No cap. I just from my personal experience, seeing people I done played football with for the longest, a lot of people turn to the streets. You know what I'm saying? When that
Mm-hmm.
football, when the sport came to the end, or just fall off the deep end, just you know what I'm saying, just move with a different crowd, and just you know what I'm saying, just on a whole different type of time. So but I knew, I was like, man, you graduated from, you finna get your degree from Stetson, this prestigious school, and it's you gonna be able to find something. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta put ourselves out there and just trust the process. We've been in this position before when we was trying to find a school to play football at, but you know how many schools we emailed, how many coaches we got in touch with, we DM'd and did all this, man, all this reaching out to, and got no millions of times before we finally got a yes. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I've been down this road before. So I just gotta continue to put myself out there for real. Um, so really it's just going to China, getting locked up, all of that. Like I said in the beginning, I knew China was going to help me grow. It was going to help me find my next step in life and help me figure out what it is that I was supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? And it did that. It did that. I didn't expect it to go the way that it went, but hey, for sure. You know what I'm saying? That's how the cards was dealt. So I had to play with what I had.
When you finally got out of being detained, how did that look like towards the end?
Man, really, it was day 13, and really just that's when I fully submitted to the universe and ancestors. Like fully let go and just put it all into their hands. I'm like, I've been trying to, you know what I'm saying, my best to, you know what I'm saying, just keep hoping, trying to at least trying to hoping that we'll hear some information, some quality information soon. And as time just kept going and I ain't hearing nothing, I was like, all right, man, I'm tired of getting my hopes up. So however long I said it, however long I gotta be here, man, whatever finna take place, man, it is what it is. I'm fully submitted. Y'all got it for sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna thug this out until however long. And then lo and behold, the very next day, they called me to go.
Wow.
They called me to go. And I was just such a disbelief. Because I was like, I didn't receive any information, like I said, as far as how long I was gonna be there, you know what I'm saying, how the process worked, none of that. Only viable info I received was through messages and signs that my ancestors sent me. You know what I'm saying? So they sent me messages and signs, let me know how long I'll be in a situation, how my release would be, and all of that. So once they called my name, I just flashed back to the dream that I had. I was like, wow, this is spot on. I was just so blown away by how in tune I was with my subconscious. To just, you know what I'm saying, just be so, man, just so in tune the way that I was. I was I, I was in this. It messed me up so much. Like I forgot that these folks were calling me to come on. Like I'm just sitting there staring at the floor, like, what? I can't believe this is actually coming to fruition. Same exact dream I had. Oh snap! These folks calling me to come on. All right, boy, let me get on up out of here before they close the door. You know what I'm saying? So, um,
I have to ask you about the dream. It sounds like a spiritual, like biblical type experience. Like I think it's Joseph and his brothers. Like when in the Bible he had like 7 or 8 different brothers and sisters, and they were all jealous of him, and so they kidnapped him. They sold him to Egyptian slavery, and then went and told their parents that he went missing, whatever. And he's like in jail, and he starts getting these prophetic dreams.
mm,
And then the king is looking for a prophet because he keeps getting these reoccurring dreams. And then Joseph's like, I can interpret that dream, interprets it, predicts a famine, then becomes the right hand of the Pharaoh. Then the famine happens. His brothers and sisters come to Egypt begging for food, and he recognizes them. They don't recognize him, and he decides to have grace and to feed them and tell them, hey, tell dad that I'm okay. And then they bugged out. So like your story is like your connection with your ancestors, the strength and the attitude that you had. You're telling me you had dreams and signs. Like we need to dive into that.
Nah, for real. Trust me. Imagine going. It was crazy going through it, especially once I started writing the book. That's when I was like, man, this is a movie. I literally experienced. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, people ain't gonna believe this. No cap. It was mind-boggling. It's still mind-boggling to this day.
So are details about the dream in, like in your book?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was shocked how much detail I was able to remember. Cause I got back into America in April 2019. I ain't started writing the book till like July 2019.
Mm.
So those months that passed, you know what I'm saying? All of that, the whole experience was just sitting in the back of my head. And then once I started finally writing it, I'm talking about everything came out. I remembered everything, even from the conversations I had with specific folks and what was said specifically to the fullest detail. It was crazy.
While you were detained, were like anybody in there with you?
Yeah. So the first 3 days, I was the only foreigner, only English speaker in the cell. So I'm in there in the cell with 14 other Chinese men, none of which I could speak to. So it wasn't really no communication the first 3 days, just a whole lot of reflecting. And then on day four, chapter four, I moved to a new cell, and then I'm amongst with three other foreigners. One is a Russian dude from Russia. He speaks Russian and Mandarin, so I can't really talk to him. Other foreigners, a Chinese American from California, fluent in English and Mandarin. And then the third foreigner was a Brazilian from Brazil. Of course, Portuguese, English, and Mandarin. So I could talk to the Brazilian and the Chinese American for sure. But with them both being fluent in Mandarin, I can talk to everybody in the cell now. You know what I'm saying?
Uh
So it's really a whole shift within the story. Like it's a whole different tone just because like, hey, we got somebody to talk to now. We can start, you know what I'm saying, making connecting dots as far as how the process works and how the jail operates, but still we have no clue how long we're going to be here. But ironically enough, everybody else in the cell knows all the information to the fullest detail. What they're arrested for specifically, how many days they're supposed to serve, everything. Me, on the other hand, nothing was explained to me. A whole completely different story.
wow, that's incredible, man. I can't wait to check out your book. It's like bringing in these other characters like this goes from like a solo spiritual journey and then boom, now you have other
On
characters.
me.
That is so cool. What advice would you give to others who may be going through difficult situations, and how can they apply lessons from your experience to overcome their adversity?
Man, it's a message by Nipsey Hussle that I feel like it is truly symbolic to just me and my journey, but it can be applied to all of ours. You know what I'm saying? And for y'all that don't know who Nipsey Hussle was, y'all could Google him. Nipsey was a mogul, philanthropist, philosopher, serial entrepreneur, well known for his music and his clothing line from South Central LA. But the message is long winded, running through this life like it was mine, never settling, but setting every goal high. 1,000 burpees on the path to my own self destruction or success. But what is a mistake without the lesson? You see, the best teacher in life is your own experience. And none of us know who we are until we fail. They say every person is defined by their reaction to any given situation. Well, who would you want to define you? Someone else or yourself? Whatever you choose to do, homie, give your heart to it and stay strong.
Yeah, that's inspiring. I felt I was so close to clapping.
Oh me, that boy Nip. R.I.P. Nip.
I love that. And rest in peace, Nipsey.
Oh me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you went in there a one man and you came out of there another man. Can you tell me can you tell me a little bit about the personal growth and the changes that you noticed after you walked out of that cell?
Man, just knowing that everybody hits rock bottom. Like I said, adversity introduces a man to himself, and I knew moving forward that it ain't gonna get no worse than this. I'm like, it is not gonna get no worse. I said, probably only thing that can get worse than this is experiencing death. You know what I'm saying? From of a loved one or close friend. I'm like, that's probably gonna be the next worst thing. But aside from that, I'm like, boy, there ain't nothing the universe gonna be able to throw at me that I ain't gonna be able to handle. For shit
Amen.
show. You know what I'm saying? It just made me stronger for sure. Um, and just sharpen my mind. You know what I'm saying? These are everything you like, all these characteristics, these quality traits that you're witnessing. I've always had these. You know what I'm saying? It's just as time progressed, it just got sharper and sharper. from football to going through what I went through in China, and then of course what I'm going through right now, just trying to continue to. I'm still running this marathon, still, you know what I'm saying, building on top of this foundation I done laid. You know what I'm saying? It's still on ongoing grind. You know what I'm saying? We ain't reached the victory lap just yet. So we still got a whole lot of work to do. You know what I'm saying? The world don't know who Chancellor K. Jackson is. So I got a whole lot of work to do until then.
What are your thoughts on the importance of sharing stories to overcome adversity, and how do you think this can inspire and teach others?
Everybody goes through turmoil, and that turmoil shapes us. You know what I'm saying? It either shapes us or it breaks us. But for those that it does shape, man, you never know who. And the world is big, so you know what I'm saying. It's somebody out there that's probably going through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Already went through it, or is finna go through it. Little do they know. You know what I'm saying? So me sharing my story has definitely inspired others to, you know what I'm saying, share their stories, you know what I'm saying, with the world. And you never know what your story can do once you put it out there, who it might impact or the effects that it'll cause, you know what I'm saying? So now that's what I do now, just coach and inspiring authors. So anybody out there with an idea or a concept for a story and not sure how to go about putting it on paper, or you've written a whole book but not sure how to go about publishing, I could walk you through either a process or both of them. Because like I said, we all got stories to share. And in football, we say iron sharpens iron, each one teach one. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So you ain't got to go through it yourself just to learn the lesson. I've always been the one to learn from others. You know what I'm saying? So definitely.
I love that. And is that something that you help people with? I would love for you to tell us about your services and if our Matrix members want to work with you or support you on your journey, how they can find you and contact you.
Yeah. So since 2020, since I released the very first version of 14 Days Beijing, I've been working with people. Because it was crazy. So what inspired me to write 14 Days, I was chilling with one of my partners I grew up with, DeMarco Reddins. He was a traditionally published author before we graduated high school in 2014. So he was the one like, hey, bro, you ain't think about writing a book about the experience? I'm like, boy, that's a good ass idea. I don't even know where to start. You know what I'm saying? And he took it even further. He took my phone from me, went to my note section, left me a 5 layer outline. So I just started filling in the outline. And with me doing that, I caught a flow for how I wanted to tell the story. So
Wow.
4 months later, the story was written, and then just spent the additional 6 months getting it ready for publishing, and you know what I'm saying, getting the cover ready and all of that. So on April 4th, 2019, that was the day I was arrested in China. On April 4th, 2020, the anniversary date, 1 year later, I released the very first version of 14 Days in Beijing, and I was ranked the #1 new bestseller in 3 different genres. So
Wow.
to take something that tragic and put it on paper and put it out into the universe and see the positive feedback it got, it was so empowering. It was a high of a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Especially to see something with your name on it that you created entirely. Oh yeah. It don't get no better than that. So and it was like I said, I ain't gonna sit here and portray this ultimate poise like I've been had it all figured out. Nah, my partner was like, hey, you should do this. I'm like, shit, I could. You know what I'm saying? And he took it further. He threw me an alley oop. So a lot of people saw me do it. I slam dunked. I done broke the rim, shattered the glass, everything. So now they was like, "Hey, bro, how you do that?" I'm like, "Man, it's really simple." You know what I'm saying? It's really simple. So just been working with people through the process. But out of all the people I've been working with, I only had one person see the whole thing through. And
Mm.
I met him in 2021. We started working on it. You know what I'm saying? We started out with just really mapping the whole book out into writing it, to editing it, revising, and you know what I'm saying, then publishing. We got it published in 2020, October of last year. And he was ranked the #1 new bestseller in 2 different genres. So for him to take all the game that I received along my journey and just apply it, and for him to, you know what I'm saying, receive the same success, oh yeah, one, that let me know I know what the hell I'm talking about. One, and then two, it's like, hey, this is something we can build off of this. Like we can make some shake with this service. You know what I'm saying, helping people through this process.
Hmm.
Especially we can get folks, you know what I'm saying, to go #1. Oh yeah, that's gonna go crazy. So you know what I'm saying. That's when I started my own publishing company, which all my books are published through. And just from me working with different folks, but having Anthony, that's who the author is, Anthony McKinney, having him go through it and him seeing it all the way through and him receiving success, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep my foot on this gas for sure, for sure, for sure.
I love it. That's so cool. What is your publishing company called?
Corlay Publications LLC.
Nice. And if our Matrix members want to work with you for producing a book, getting published, what's the best way they can find you?
Man, the best search engine we got, Google. Google Chancellor K. Jackson. Everything you need will pop up from my social media accounts, my website, chancellorkjackson.com, other interviews I've done. You know what I'm saying? Just Google me. Y'all can visit my website, sign up for a free consultation. That way we can tap in. You know what I'm saying? Hash it out. And if we feel like we're a good fit for each other, hey, we can make magic. No cap.
I love it. Thank you so much, Chancellor. Your story is like impacted me on so many levels. Like I am so impressed and inspired by the resilience of your mental attitude and how much accountability you took throughout this whole story. And I
Yeah.
know that the lessons that you gave us is definitely going to give a lot of people perspective, especially if they're struggling right now.
Nah, for real. You know what I'm saying? OB, that's just part of the purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's part of my journey. Why I'm here. So like I said, man, this thing can this thing can be as big as you want to make it and go as far as you want to take it. For real, for real. And just know it's a marathon. It's a marathon. Don't think it's gonna happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be all peaches and cream. Nah, it's gonna be a marathon for sure. But just stay 10 toes down, man. Trust the process.
Thank you so much. I love this. What an inspiring and thought provoking conversation with Chancellor Jackson. We are truly grateful for the opportunity to learn from his experience and the wisdom he shared about overcoming adversity and finding purpose in life. If you want to learn more about Chancellor's story, be sure to check out his book, 14 Days in Beijing. He's kindly made a free version available for you, and you'll also find other books, social media channels, and services provided through the link in the description below. Don't miss out on the opportunity to connect with Chancellor further. Sign up for his email list to receive prizes, exclusive content, and more. Just follow the link. Once again, thank you, Chancellor Jackson, for joining us today and sharing your incredible story with our audience. And to all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Organic Matrix, and we'll be seeing you next time. Ready for more Matrix mentors and exclusive content to help you improve your life? Stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you found our Matrix mentors insightful. If you're enjoying the show, here are 2 easy ways you can help us grow and reach even more amazing Matrix members. Share the show with your friends and followers on social media. Word of mouth is one of the most powerful ways to spread the word about our show and help us reach new listeners. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Not only does this help us improve the show and serve our audience better, but it helps us rank higher in search results and reach more people. Every share and review helps us so much, and we're looking to level up your personal and professional growth. Thank you for your support, and we'll be seeing you on the next download.